The vast emptiness of space was broken by the twinkling of stars and the ominous shapes of alien warships. These ships, belonging to a coalition of alien races, surrounded the blue and green planet called Earth. The alien fleet had been there for months, slowly wearing down the planet's defenses. On the main ship of the alien fleet, two commanders stood looking at a big screen. The screen showed Earth and all the alien ships around it. The male commander, Tak, smiled as he watched. "Look, Yuna," Tak said to the female commander next to him. "The humans are almost done for. Their silly attempts to fight us are getting weaker every day." Yuna nodded, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence. "Yes, it seems our victory is very close. But we shouldn't celebrate too soon, Tak. Humans have surprised us before." Tak laughed, a sound like rocks falling down a hill. "Surprised us? With what? Their weapons are like toys compared to ours. Their ships fall apart when we sneeze at them." "Don't forget the Battle of Mars," Yuna said quietly. "We lost many good soldiers there." Tak's laughter stopped. He remembered that battle. The humans had used the red planet's dust to hide their ships. They had attacked suddenly, destroying 3 alien cruisers before anyone knew what was happening. "That was different," Tak said after a moment. "They had the element of surprise then. Now we have them trapped on their own planet. There's nowhere for them to hide." As they talked, alarms started to sound. Red lights flashed all over the ship. Tak and Yuna turned to look at the big screen again. "What's happening?" Tak shouted. A smaller alien with 6 arms typed quickly on a control panel. "Commanders, we're detecting a lot of movement from Earth. It looks like they're preparing to attack." Yuna leaned forward, her antenna twitching with excitement. "Show me," she ordered. The screen changed to show hundreds of small dots leaving Earth's surface. They were human ships, rising up to meet the alien fleet. "They're mad," Tak said, shaking his head. "This is suicide. They can't possibly think they can win against us." Yuna wasn't so sure. "Maybe they know something we don't." "Tak, we should prepare our ships for battle." Tak nodded and started giving orders. Soon, the alien fleet was buzzing with activity. Ships moved into attack formations, weapons powered up, and shields flickered to life. Down on Earth, things were just as busy. In an underground base, human soldiers ran back and forth, preparing for the fight of their lives. Admiral Jae-hwan stood in the middle of it all, giving orders and trying to stay calm. He was an old man with gray hair and a stern face. He had seen many battles, but none as important as this one. "Sir," a young soldier said, running up to him, "all ships report ready for launch. We're just waiting for your order." Jae-hwan nodded. He looked at a picture on his desk. It showed him with his family, his wife, his children, his grandchildren. They were all counting on him now. Everyone on Earth was. "It's time," he said quietly. Then, in a louder voice, he gave the order. "Launch all ships. Today, we fight for Earth." A cheer went up from the soldiers around him. Jae-hwan watched on a screen as the first wave of ships took off. They were small and fast, designed to dodge alien weapons. As the ships rose into the sky, Jae-hwan thought about their secret weapon. The massive battleship they called Thunderbolt. It was hidden on the far side of the moon, waiting for the right moment. "I hope it's enough," Jae-hwan said to himself. "I hope we're not too late." In space, the human ships met the alien fleet. The battle began with flashes of light and explosions that lit up the darkness. Earth's last stand had begun. Tak watched the battle from his ship, feeling confident. "See, Yuna, they're no match for us. This will all be over soon." But Yuna wasn't so sure. She had a strange feeling, like something big was about to happen. "Perhaps," she said, "but I think this battle is far from over." As the 2 alien commanders watched, the space around Earth turned into a war zone. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and unknown to the aliens, Earth's greatest weapon was about to enter the fight. On the dark side of the moon, Hidden from both Earth and the alien fleet sat humanity's last hope. The massive battleship Thunderbolt floated silently, its metal skin reflecting the distant stars. Inside, the ship buzzed with activity as the crew prepared for their most important mission. Captain Minho walked through the corridors, his footsteps echoing in the tense silence. He was young for a captain, but his eyes showed the weight of responsibility he carried. As he entered the bridge, all eyes turned to him. "Status report," Minho said, his voice calm but firm. A woman with short black hair, Lieutenant Sue, spoke up. "All systems are green, Captain. We're ready to launch on your command." Minho nodded, then turned to look at the main screen. It showed the battle raging near Earth. Small human ships darted between the larger alien vessels, fighting bravely but clearly outmatched. "It's time," Minho said. "Prepare for launch. We need to join the fight before it's too late." As the crew rushed to obey, Minho felt doubt creep into his mind. The Thunderbolt was big and powerful, but would it be enough? He pushed the thought away. It had to be enough. There was no other choice. Back on Earth, Admiral Jae-hwan watched the battle with growing concern. The human ships fought well, but they were falling one by one. The alien fleet was just too strong. A young officer ran up to him, her face pale with fear. "Admiral, we've lost contact with the 3rd and 7th Squadrons. The aliens have broken through our outer defenses." Jae-hwan's face remained calm, but his hands tightened into fists. "Keep fighting," he ordered. "We must hold on until the Thunderbolt arrives." In space, the alien commanders Tak and Yuno watched the battle with very different feelings. Tak was excited, sure of their victory. Yuna felt uneasy, worried about what the humans might do next. "Look at them fall." Tak laughed, pointing at the screen where another human ship exploded. "This is even easier than I thought it would be." Yuna frowned. "It does seem too easy," she said. "The humans are known for their clever tactics. Why are they fighting so simply?" Tak waved her concerns away. "Because they have nothing left. This is their last stand, and it's failing. Soon, Earth will be ours." As if to prove Tak's point, a large group of human ships suddenly turned and fled from the battle. Cheers erupted from the alien crew as they watched. "See," Tak said smugly. "They're running away. Victory is ours." But Yuna wasn't celebrating. Her antennas twitched nervously as she studied the screen. "No," she said slowly. "They're not running away. They're regrouping." But why? On the Thunderbolt, Captain Minho gave the order they had all been waiting for. "Launch the ship." Full power to engines. The massive battleship came to life. Its engines glowed bright blue as it began to move. Slowly at first, then faster and faster, the Thunderbolt left its hiding place behind the moon. As the ship entered the battle zone, gasps of awe and disbelief filled the alien command center. The Thunderbolt was enormous, bigger than any ship in the alien fleet. Its sleek design spoke of advanced technology, and its weapons looked powerful and strange. What is that?" Tak stammered, his earlier confidence gone. Yuna leaned forward, her 4 eyes wide with surprise. "It's a human ship," she said. "But how? How did they build something like this without us knowing?" On Earth, cheers erupted as the Thunderbolt appeared on their screens. Admiral Jae-hwan allowed himself a small smile. "Now," he said quietly, "the real battle begins." Captain Minho stood tall on the bridge of the Thunderbolt. "All hands, battle stations," he ordered. "Prepare main weapons. Let's show these aliens what humans can really do." As the Thunderbolt moved towards the heart of the alien fleet, both sides held their breath. The humans dared to hope for the first time in months. The aliens felt fear creep into their hearts. The battle for Earth was about to change, and neither side could predict what would happen next. The space around Earth fell silent as the Thunderbolt moved closer to the alien fleet. Even the ongoing battle seemed to pause as everyone, human and alien alike, stared at the massive human battleship. On the alien command ship, Tak and Yuna couldn't believe their eyes. The Thunderbolt was unlike anything they had ever seen before. Its hull gleamed with a strange, shimmering material that seemed to change color as it moved. Huge cannons lined its sides, and strange devices that could only be advanced weapon systems dotted its surface. "Impossible," Tak whispered, his earlier confidence completely gone. "How did the humans build this monster?" Yuna shook her head, her 4 eyes blinking rapidly as she tried to process what she was seeing. "I don't know, but we need to act fast. This changes everything." Meanwhile, on the bridge of the Thunderbolt, Captain Minho stood tall, his eyes fixed on the main view screen. The alien fleet stretched out before them, a mass of ships that had seemed unstoppable just moments ago. Now, they looked small and fragile compared to the Thunderbolt. "Status report," Minho ordered, his voice calm despite the tension in the air. Lieutenant Sue's fingers flew over her console as she checked the ship's systems. "All systems are functioning at 100%, Captain. Shields are at full power, and weapons are charged and ready." Minho nodded, a small smile playing on his lips. "Good. Let's show them what we can do. Target the nearest alien cruiser. Fire a warning shot across their bow." The Thunderbolt's main cannon, a massive device that ran almost the entire length of the ship, began to glow with a bright blue light. A moment later, a beam of energy shot out, narrowly missing the alien cruiser but leaving a trail of superheated plasma in its wake. On the alien ships, panic began to spread. Tak barked orders, trying to regain control of the situation. "All ships, battle formations. Concentrate fire on that human monstrosity." But before the alien fleet could organize, the Thunderbolt was on the move again. It glided through space with impossible grace for a ship of its size, effortlessly dodging the frantic shots from the alien vessels. Back on Earth, in the underground command center, Admiral Jaehwan watched the battle unfold with a mixture of pride and amazement. The Thunderbolt was performing even better than they had hoped. "Sir," a young officer called out, excitement clear in her voice. "The alien fleet is falling back. They're retreating." Jaehwan allowed himself a small smile. "Not retreating," he corrected. "Regrouping. This battle is far from over. Tell our ships to stand ready. The real fight is about to begin." In space, the Thunderbolt continued its advance. Captain Minho's voice rang out clear and confident over the ship's communication systems. "This is Captain Minho of the Earth Defense Force battleship Thunderbolt. To the alien fleet, we offer you one chance to surrender and leave our solar system peacefully. Refuse, and we will be forced to defend ourselves with all our power." On the alien command ship, Tak listened to the message with growing anger. "Surrender. Never. We will crush this human ship and then destroy their entire planet." But Yuna wasn't so sure. She could see the fear in the eyes of their crew, could feel the shift in the battle's momentum. "Tak," she said quietly, "perhaps we should consider their offer. That ship, it's beyond anything we expected. We don't know what it's capable of." Tak turned on her, his eyes flashing with rage. "Consider surrender. Have you lost your mind, Yuna? We are the mightiest fleet in the galaxy. We will not be defeated by a single human ship, no matter how large." As the alien leaders argued, the Thunderbolt hung in space, a silent guardian between the alien fleet and Earth. Its very presence seemed to radiate power and determination, a symbol of humanity's will to survive. The next move would determine the fate of both sides. The entire galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next in this unexpected turn of events. The space around Earth was tense. The huge human battleship, Thunderbolt, faced the alien fleet. Both sides waited to see what would happen next. On the Thunderbolt, Captain Minho took a deep breath. He knew his next words could start a war or bring peace. He pressed a button on his chair and spoke clearly. "This is Captain Minho of Earth. We want to talk. Please respond." In the alien command ship, Tak and Yuna heard the message. Tak growled, "Ignore them. We should attack now. But Yuna shook her head. No, Tak. We must be smart. Let's hear what they have to say. She pressed a button and spoke into a microphone. Human ship, this is Commander Yuna. We are listening. On Earth, in the underground base, Admiral Jaehwan and his team cheered. They're talking. Someone shouted. But Jaehwan raised his hand for quiet. It's not over yet, he said. Let's see what happens. Back on the Thunderbolt, Minho nodded to his crew. Good, he said to the aliens. We don't want war. We want peace. But we will defend our home if we must. Can we meet to talk about this? In the alien ship, Tak couldn't believe his ears. Meet? With humans? Never. But Yuna was thinking hard. She looked at the Thunderbolt on their screens. It was powerful, maybe more powerful than their whole fleet. Perhaps we should, Tak, she said softly. Look at that ship. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have tried already. Let's be wise and talk. Tak grumbled but didn't argue. Yuna turned back to the microphone. We agree to meet, Captain Minho. But how? Where? Minho had thought about this. We can meet in space, between our ships. We'll send a small ship. You send a small ship. We'll talk there. The aliens agreed. Soon, 2 small ships left their bigger ships and flew towards each other. They met halfway between the Thunderbolt and the alien fleet. Inside the human ship were Captain Minho and 2 of his best officers. In the alien ship were Yuna and 2 alien guards. Tak had refused to come, still angry about the whole thing. The 2 ships connected with a soft thud. A door opened between them. For the first time, humans and aliens stood face to face. Minho looked at the aliens with wonder. They were tall and thin, with 4 eyes and skin that shimmered like fish scales. Yuna looked at the humans with equal curiosity. They were shorter and solid-looking, with only 2 eyes and hair on their heads. Welcome, Minho said, trying to smile in a friendly way. I'm Captain Minho. Yuna nodded her head. I am Commander Yuna. We did not expect to meet humans like this. Minho nodded back. We didn't expect to meet aliens at all. But here we are. Shall we talk? They sat down at a small table. At first, the talk was stiff and formal. But as time passed, both sides began to relax a little. Minho explained why humans had built the Thunderbolt. We saw your ships coming. We knew we had to do something big to protect our world. Yuna listened and then spoke. We came because we need a new home. Our world is dying. We thought Earth would be easy to take. Minho frowned. Taking our home won't solve your problems. It will only cause more pain. But maybe we can help each other instead of fighting. Yuna's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. Help? How? We have some empty planets in our solar system, Minho said. They're not perfect, but with our help, you could live there. In return, you could share your space travel knowledge with us. As they talked more, both sides started to see hope. Maybe they didn't have to fight. Maybe they could be friends instead of enemies. But not everyone agreed. In the alien fleet, Tak was getting angrier and angrier. He didn't want peace. He wanted to win, to take Earth for his people. Enough talking, he growled to his crew. It's time to show these humans who's really in charge here. As Minho and Yuna continued to talk peacefully, Tak began to plan an attack. The peace they had just started to build was in danger. While Captain Minho and Commander Yuna talked about peace, Tak was busy on the alien command ship. His eyes glowed with anger as he gave orders to his crew. Prepare all weapons, Tak shouted. We'll show these humans and that traitor Yuna what real power is. The alien soldiers looked worried, but they followed orders. Soon, the alien ships were powering up their weapons. The lights on their ships turned from blue to angry red. Back on the small meeting ship, Minho and Yuna were still talking. They didn't know what Tak was doing. So, if we help you settle on Mars, You'll share your space travel technology? Minho asked. Yuna nodded, her 4 eyes blinking happily. Yes, I think this could work. Our people need a home. And suddenly, a loud alarm started beeping. Minho's officer, Sue, ran into the room. Her face was pale with fear. Captain, she shouted, the alien fleet is powering up weapons. They're aiming at the Thunderbolt. Minho jumped to his feet. Yuna looked shocked. No, she said. This must be Tak's doing. We have to stop him. But it was too late. Just then, the alien fleet fired. Hundreds of energy beams shot towards the Thunderbolt. On Earth, Admiral Jaewon watched with horror. No, he yelled. Warn the Thunderbolt. The Thunderbolt's crew saw the attack coming. They had only seconds to react. Shields up, the ship's captain shouted. Brace for impact. The energy beams hit the Thunderbolt. The huge ship shook, but when the light faded, everyone was surprised. The Thunderbolt was still there, hardly damaged at all. On the alien command ship, Tak couldn't believe his eyes. Impossible, he roared. How did they survive that? Fire again. But before the aliens could attack again, the Thunderbolt fought back. Its big guns lit up. Beams of bright blue energy shot out, hitting several alien ships. The alien ships exploded in balls of fire. Now the space around Earth was full of flashing lights and explosions. The battle had begun. In the meeting ship, Minho turned to Yuna. We have to stop this, he said. Can you talk to your people? Yuna tried to call Tak, but he wouldn't answer. He's gone too far, she said sadly. We have to get back to our ships. Minho nodded. Okay, but remember, we still want peace. Tell your people to stop fighting, and we'll stop too. The small ships separated. Minho flew back to the Thunderbolt, while Yuna returned to the alien fleet. On the Thunderbolt, Minho ran to the bridge. Status report, he called out. Lieutenant Sue answered. Shields at 95%, Captain. All weapons ready. The alien fleet is in chaos. Some ships are still attacking, but others are just sitting there. Minho nodded. They're confused. Yuna's people don't all agree with Tak. Keep our attacks focused on the ships that are firing at us. Try not to hurt the others. The Thunderbolt moved through space like a dancer. It was big, but it was fast. It dodged most of the alien attacks and fired back with amazing accuracy. On Earth, Admiral Jaewon watched the battle with pride. Look at her go, he said softly. She's beautiful. In the alien fleet, things were getting worse. Tak was shouting orders, but many aliens weren't listening. They had seen how strong the Thunderbolt was. They were scared. Yuna's ship arrived back at the fleet. She started sending messages to all the alien ships. Stop fighting, she said. The humans want peace. We can have a new home without war. Some alien ships stopped fighting right away. Others kept attacking, following Tak's orders. The alien fleet was splitting apart. The battle raged on. The Thunderbolt kept fighting, but it was careful. It didn't want to destroy the aliens, just stop their attack. As the fighting continued, everyone wondered, how would this end? Could there still be peace, or would one side have to be destroyed? The fate of Earth and of the alien race hung in the balance, and the Thunderbolt was the key to it all. The battle around Earth was chaos. The Thunderbolt fought bravely against the attacking alien ships, but it wasn't fighting alone anymore. Other human ships had joined the fight. Admiral Jaewon had sent all of Earth's remaining ships to help the Thunderbolt. These ships were small compared to the Thunderbolt, but they were fast and their pilots were brave. On the Thunderbolt's bridge, Captain Minho watched the battle with worry. Lieutenant Sue, he called, how are our friends doing? Sue checked her screens. The Earth ships are doing well, Captain. They're small enough to slip past the alien defenses. They're causing a lot of trouble for the enemy. Minho nodded, feeling proud, but he knew the fight wasn't over yet. In the alien fleet, things were getting worse. Many alien ships had stopped fighting after hearing Yuna's message of peace, but others, following Tak's orders, were still attacking. Yuna was on her ship, trying to talk sense into her people. "Please listen," she said over the communication system. "The humans are stronger than we thought, but they're willing to help us. We don't need to fight." Some aliens listened to Yuna. Their ships turned off their weapons and moved away from the battle. But Tak and his loyal followers kept fighting. "Cowards!" Tak shouted at the ships that were leaving. "Come back and fight. We can still win this." But Tak was wrong. The alien fleet was falling apart. Without teamwork, they couldn't beat the Thunderbolt and the other human ships. On Earth, Admiral Jaehwan saw what was happening. He smiled and turned to his team. "It's working," he said. "Send a message to all our ships. Tell them to focus on Tak's forces. Leave the other alien ships alone." The human ships followed the new orders. They stopped attacking the peaceful aliens and turned all their weapons on Tak's ships. In space, the Thunderbolt was amazing to watch. It moved like it was alive, dodging attacks and firing back with perfect aim. Its big guns flashed, sending bright beams of energy at the enemy ships. But Captain Minho wasn't happy. He didn't want to destroy the aliens. He wanted peace. "Sue," he said, "can we contact Yuna?" Sue nodded and pressed some buttons. Soon, Yuna's face appeared on a screen. "Commander Yuna," Minho said, "we need to stop this fighting. Too many people are dying. Can you help?" Yuna looked sad but determined. "I'm trying, Captain. Many of our ships have stopped fighting. But Tak won't listen. He's lost in his anger." Minho thought for a moment. Then he had an idea. "Yuna, can you get your peaceful ships to surround Tak's forces? We'll do the same with our ships. Maybe if Tak sees he's trapped, he'll give up." Yuna's eyes lit up. "That's a good idea. I'll tell my people right away." The plan started to work. The peaceful alien ships moved to one side of Tak's forces, the Thunderbolt, and the human ships moved to the other side. Slowly, they started to close in. Tak saw what was happening. He was furious. "No," he shouted, "we won't be trapped. All ships, attack. Give everything you've got." Tak's ships fired all their weapons at once. It was a massive attack. Energy beams and missiles flew towards the Thunderbolt and the human ships. On the Thunderbolt, alarms were blaring. Massive energy surge detected. Sue shouted, "Impact in 5 seconds." Minho gripped his chair. "All power to shields," he ordered. "Brace for impact." The attack hit the Thunderbolt and the other human ships. For a moment, it seemed like everything was exploding. No one could see what was happening through the bright flashes of light. On Earth, Admiral Jaehwan and his team held their breath. Had the Thunderbolt survived? Had Tak's desperate attack worked? As the light faded, everyone looked to see what had happened. The fate of the battle, and maybe the fate of Earth, would be decided by what they saw next. The bright light from Tak's attack slowly faded. Everyone, both humans and aliens, held their breath. What had happened to the Thunderbolt and the human ships? As the view cleared, gasps of surprise filled the air. The Thunderbolt was still there. Its shields glowed brightly, having absorbed the massive attack. The human ships around it had taken some damage, but most were still flying. On the Thunderbolt's bridge, Captain Minho opened his eyes. He looked around quickly. "Status report," he called out. Lieutenant Sue checked her screens. "Shields at 30%, Captain. We took a big hit, but we're still here. Some of our smaller ships are damaged, but no one is destroyed." Minho nodded, relieved. Then he looked at the main screen. "And the aliens?" he asked. Sue's eyes widened. "Sir, you need to see this," she said. The screen showed the alien fleet. Tak's attack had used up all their energy. His ships were now floating in space, powerless. They couldn't fight anymore. On Earth, Admiral Jaehwan and his team cheered. We did it, someone shouted, but Jae-hwan raised his hand for quiet. It's not over yet, he said. Let's see what happens next. In space, Yuna saw her chance. She sent a message to all the alien ships. Tak has failed, she said. His way only brings destruction. It's time for peace. Many alien ships that were still fighting stopped. They realized Yuna was right. Fighting the humans was hopeless. On his ship, Tak couldn't believe what was happening. No, he shouted. This can't be. We can't lose to humans. But it was too late. Tak's officers turned to him. Sir, one said, we have no power. We can't fight anymore. What should we do? Tak fell silent. For the first time, he didn't know what to say. Captain Minho saw this was the moment to act. Open a channel to all ships, he said, both human and alien. Sue nodded and pressed some buttons. Channel open, sir, she said. Minho took a deep breath and spoke. This is Captain Minho of the Earth ship Thunderbolt. The battle is over. To the aliens, we offer peace. Lay down your weapons and we can talk. We don't want to destroy you. We want to help you find a new home, as we discussed before. What do you say? There was silence for a long moment. Then, one by one, the alien ships started sending messages. We accept, they said. We want peace. Finally, even Tak's ship sent a message. We surrender, Tak said, his voice quiet and defeated. A cheer went up from the human ships. On Earth, people hugged each other and cried happy tears. The war was over. In the days that followed, humans and aliens met to talk. True to their word, the humans offered to help the aliens settle on Mars. The aliens shared their space travel technology. It wasn't always easy. Some people on both sides still didn't trust each other. But leaders like Minho, Yuna, and Jae-hwan worked hard to keep the peace. Tak was punished by his own people for starting the war. But in time, even he saw that peace was better than fighting. The Thunderbolt became a symbol of peace. It was turned into a museum where both humans and aliens could visit and learn about the day everything changed. Years later, humans and aliens worked together to explore space. They found new worlds and made amazing discoveries. The universe turned out to be full of wonders they could only imagine before. And it all started on that day when the aliens couldn't believe their eyes as the human battleship arrived. The day that could have ended in war, but instead became the beginning of a great friendship between two peoples from different worlds. As Captain Minho liked to say, sometimes the greatest victory isn't winning a war. It's finding a way to make peace.